Алло, здравствуйте. Так вот, сегодня у нас столик. Нихера себе. Громко-то было. Так, чат вывожу. Так вот. Так, в 25 начало. Как-то так. На Nintendo Direct ничего, в принципе, такого не показали. Не зря я ее пропустил. Так как опять с Take-Two больше разговаривали, как я понял. Ну, The Legend of Zelda British, что-то там вторую часть какую-то. Не шарю в этом. А сейчас я вообще спал. Ну, потому что не спал. Вот уже поднялось до 74. Вот, нормально. Теперь можно вам открыть. Так. Так, ты, по-моему, был вот тут, да? Расчётный интеллект. Стоять! Не-не-не-не. Так, у тебя же много интеллекта, да? Иди, короче, сюда. У тебя что больше? Сила. Ну вот ты уже вот здесь и будешь. Чё чат еще? Да как так-то? Где он? Видишь, это качались там, занимались. Что такое произошло? Так, уровень счастья до 100%. У кого-то так, у кого там меньше 100. Ты. Это жестко. А вот так вот. Ну. Он ничего не хочет. Так, 75. Вот сволочь. Ну давай, ну вот вообще самый счастливый чувак. Давайте, прокачайте. Так, почему 83 тысячи? Эти пришли, все, сразу повысилось, да? А кого не стоит, извините. У тебя не стал, почему? Тебе надо было в первую очередь. Я думаю, они еще придут, так что прокачается я. Разрешите, пожалуйста. Попробуем. Что это? Гимн Украины, что ли, играл? Так. Теперь ты счастлив, скажи? Почти дошли. Я даже не знаю, что убирать. Все потихоньку сделает. Просто на время типа, собрать 7 единиц. Стоять. Так, один отсюда, второй отсюда, третий отсюда. Зашибись. Только еды что-то тут не хватает. Ну почти ускорили, почти. Денег до кучи, конечно. Ну-ка. В случае где еще покажу. Вот. Вот туда. Ну, 4 часа. Я опять забыл им дать. Что ж такое-то? Давайте, возвращайтесь быстрее. Только забежали. Все теряно. Я забыла про это всегда. Теперь почему-то. 16 жителей, 72%, если что. Чего ты грустно уже становишься? Я вообще грустно был. Сейчас рейдеры нападают, да? Ну, как обычно. Так, начало Bandai Namco через 12 минут. Вообще кого-то отправь. Я, может, и отправить, а? Вперед. Что вот это не исчезнет? Потом, наверное, вот в это пойдем. Надо будет очень их хорошо подготовить. Вот прям очень хорошо. Надо будет им штук 50 лечебок дать, чтобы они справились. Ну, потому что там вообще просто жизнь происходит. Поэтому чё, поэтому? Так. Что тут вырабатывает у нас это? Главное сейчас у нас будет вот это вот стоять. Ну, в план. А, я это увеличил, да? Серьезно? Так, ладно. Поставим генератор тут. Ты уйдешь работать сюда. Может, тебе все равно делать нефиг. И давайте еще одну. Медпункт. Я вот это зря. Я просто не увидел, что это еще одно. Так, окей. Ну, вложился, я думаю, правильно. Так, ты. Интеллект у тебя большой. Так. Ты. Интеллект си. Здесь надо интеллект. Там нету никого. Твою мать! Охерел. Еще один дроид-то за вас должен все это тушить. Так, столовая это хорошо, но пусть он здесь работает пока. У тебя интеллекта вообще нет. Интеллект 7. Вы пойдешь работать вот сюда? Потому что я смотрю, вот это тут вообще справляется хорошо. Ну и все, сейчас направим все силы на стимуляторы. Ну, как бы можно еще. Антиродин будет создаваться. Так, вот достаточно. В общем, вот все силы потратим на это. И потом сразу туда персонажей и получим куш, так сказать, большой. Потом все задания заново будем выполнять, вот так вот и так далее. Потому что, не знаю, перематывать время я не особо хочу. Охота на стримах-то, ну и все. Так, сейчас посмотрим, что у них там творится. Хожу на Twitch. Приношу его сюда вам.
Who's there?
Your career just left. Sorry, was that too much? Was that too much? What, you're not laughing. What's wrong?
Why you gotta go there?
These nuts?
Got him!
Got him! That was good! That's brand
Ну,
friendly.
нафиг, собственно.
It's a classic These Nuts joke, right?
Вернусь,
It's a
когда
classic
все
These Nuts
начнется.
joke, right?
Буквально
You gotta hit me with the
через
Sugma,
5-6 минут.
Yeah.
the
Через
Ligma,
5.
okay? The Sugma, the Ligma, and then what's the other one? Candace.
Uh-huh.
That's a classic. That's a classic Candace. That's a good one.
And
I every day.
oh, wait, that was probably bad. Okay, never mind. Ninja, I have so many questions for you. Because, well, first, I'm on E3, and as you can tell, I keep having to bleep myself out. I need to learn how to be brand safe.
I've seen some of your stuff.
Okay.
There's a couple things that a parent might hear that's like, Joseph,
Okay, hold on.
what
How about
are
this?
you watching?
Okay, wait, how about this? Your parents are virgins.
I like it. Because I think that they would laugh at it, and the parents obviously are intelligent enough to know that they're not, because their spawn is sitting in front of them.
Right.
That's actually okay.
That's good, right?
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
a Nico
yeah.
level comedy.
Yeah, exactly. And also, what do kids like these days? Minecraft, Dream. They love Dream.
Oh my god, they're obsessed with Dream.
Yeah.
All those guys, Tubbo, Dream, freaking Tommy Innit. I mean,
yeah.
They could fart into a microphone and go viral.
I can fart.
There you go. Farting.
Oh, so that is funny.
That's funny. That's funny.
That's funny. That was a wet one.
Oh my god. Oh my
I think
god.
I just
Yikes.
Yikes. Let's
See,
not talk about that. Let's not talk. Yeah.
I haven't even begun to peek. It's coming.
Yeah, it's
A year
coming.
from now,
Oh my god, I can't wait.
You nailed this for brand safety.
You
So
think so?
you're ready.
I'm so ready. Got it. I'm really excited. This is awesome.
Miko, you're awesome. If you actually do want a game, just I don't know. I'll follow you on Twitter if I don't already, and then just DM me or anything, and we can set something up. Okay?
Yay! That'd be so cool.
Bye.
Thank you. Streaming time. Okay. Thank you, everybody. Signing off. Goodbye. Should I do that again? Was that too much?
Okay, so you signed up willingly to work with Code Miko.
To be fair, when I signed with G4, I did not know that she would be employed. But yes, that is my coworker. You thought Avali was the weirdest one. No, it's her. It's her. G4 is going to be great, folks.
I just can't wait to see your interaction with Code Miko.
Honestly, I don't know if I'm ready for that, personally.
I can't wait to watch that. So let me know when that goes down.
I'll tell you what I can't wait to do.
Tell us, Greg.
Get to my PC and go to Steam. If you go to Steam right now, you'll find on the very front page an E3 link. There it is. You click on it, and guess what? You get to see each and every game we've talked about, showcase, had anything to do with during our 4 days here. Of course, you can wish list, you can pre-order, you can have a good time. Wait for it. There it is. Go get To the Rescue right there. Click on that. That's the one. They need you. Fallen Aces. Click on that one. Go for Cat Cafe Manager.
yeah.
Everything from Freedom Games.
Yeah, pretty much.
Everything
Yeah.
for free. We keep putting them over, and for due reason, because they're great. So yeah, get all those games. Wish list them all.
And hey, while you're spending money, have you ordered your E3 merch yet? If not, check out e3expo.com/shop and get your order in today.
Bomber
All right.
jackets on point.
Very nice, very nice.
Long enough for us.
I know,
Did you
right?
know this is sleeve
I
length?
know, it's very, very nice.
really good.
Now, the big question is, what would you guys like to see here from Bandai Namco Presents House of Ashes?
I am not familiar with this, but I have been told that it is scary. And I don't do well with scary.
Yeah.
You know, you asked about Code Miko.
Это уже
It's
не
scary.
слышно.
I don't know if
Ты, по-моему,
That's
да?
a different kind of scary.
Yeah,
That
it's
is
true.
a much different
So
kind of
I'm
scary.
looking forward to, a different kind of tone of presentation.
Would you like me to hold your hand during this presentation?
Sure,
Is that what's
Puppy. I'm
gonna
okay
do?
with that. You know, that's great.
Yeah, if you're not familiar, everybody, of course, this is going to be Bandai Namco. I still want to say Namco Bandai. It's when they changed the name, it was years ago, and it still screws me up to this day. Of course, they're working with supermassive games on the Dark Picture Anthology, a whole bunch of different horror games that are coming out in quick succession. This is the third one in the anthology already. But if you didn't know them before, of course,
House of
Supermassive
Ashes,
made
да,
Until
об этом
Dawn, a breakout
рассказывал.
PlayStation hit that then led to
Вначале.
this
Вот
deal.
я что-то видел
Of course,
сейчас,
they've done Man of
скинь,
Medan
что
already.
было, что
Now
было.
they did Little Hope, and now it's time to see more of House of Ashes. And so, yeah, this one's an exciting, different thing, right, Jackie?
Well, I have been closely monitoring every trailer, any gameplay that has dropped on this, and it is so scary. Like, I really cannot emphasize that enough. But for me, it has to be more than scary, and it has to be more than these terrifying aliens. For some reason, the story really hits with me, and you can also tell that they've invested so much time into this project. And I'm really hoping we get more of an inside look here, because I am on board, and it is bloody and gory and aliens, and yeah, I'm here for it. Yeah,
of course.
Not your cup of tea, but 100% mine.
You know what? Hey, I'm here for it.
Drink
Though.
it
I'm gonna
up,
watch it. I'm gonna watch it all.
baby. So,
Opposing forces get dropped into a Sumerian temple, right? And all sorts of supernatural elements start popping out. We'll see what's going on here.
Yeah.
So, Golden Boy, we need you to get psyched up. We need you to get ready
Oh,
for
no,
this game.
I'm excited to watch it. I'm going to be very scared. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to go over to the media area, and I'm going to, I'm going to be horrified because it's going to be great. It's time, though, for our next presenter. And here, with their 2021 E3 presentation, is Bandai Namco Presents House of Ashes.
House of Ashes. Ну-ка, давайте глянем, что там интересное новое. Так что нам уже поэтому не показали?
An ancient horror has awoken from its slumber and is hungry for blood.
Нам это заново
Shall we see how many have fallen into shadow?
Satellite sweeps of the war zone have uncovered what appears to be an underground storage facility. But I strongly suspect it's where chemical weapons are hidden, so we need to move fast.
Ready to go dark.
To descend into the unknown alone is extremely brave.
Fan out, hold fire.
Or extremely foolish.
We're gonna sigh out this shit.
Brothers in arms, or will it be a case of each man for himself?
Down, get down! They're up on the ridge! Return fire!
You teeter on the edge of
Брат
an
проводит.
abyss. Your survival depends on the choices you make. They will be as a compass, guiding you through the unknown.
We're on God's green earth if we landed.
What nightmare have these luckless souls fallen into?
You keep lookout.
Look out? Look out for what?
One by one, their lights will be snuffed out. Unless you can find the means to save them. Trapped beneath the earth, swallowed by the void.
Надеюсь, это не всякие кинди-глюны, а уже реально что-то вот эти монстры.
Or be lost in
Что
the
там про
darkness
химическое оружие говорили всякое. Ну кто знает.
forever.
Так, давайте побольше коллекцион, давайте еще раз покажите.
We're here at Supermassive to talk about the next game in the Dark Pictures
Могли бы
anthology,
и коллекцион.
House of Ashes.
Там
I'm
2
joined
секунды
by
буквально.
exec producer Dan. How you doing?
Hello.
Thank you for joining us. Right,
Really cool.
so let's start at the very start. We're going to be talking about House of Ashes for most of the interview, but for those that don't know, tell us about the Dark Pictures anthology.
The Dark Pictures is a series of narrative, story-driven, branching horror stories. Each one is standalone. They each tell a different story.
Уже четвертая
completely separate
стоит,
from the others,
смотрите.
but within the same
Четвертая
universe,
книга
so
уже
there is connection
поставлена.
between them. House of Ashes is set at
То
the
есть,
end of
если
the
мы
Iraq War
видели
in
даже в
2003,
первой или во второй
we've
части
linked,
знак House of
4,000 years
Ashes,
ago,
то
we've
там
set the
уже
story
стоит
up.
четвертая.
So
То
tell
есть
us more
уже
about
четвертая
the
планируется.
theme and themes, I suppose,
Зашибись.
within House of Ashes.
It starts off
Где
with
какой
a
смысл мне
military
покупать
unit
коллекционку,
that's
если с
military
каждой новой игрой вы
for
что-то
weapons
новое
systems
придумываете?
underground. They think they've identified
Постоянно
something in the
выходят
Zagros
полные
Mountains,
версии всех
and then
игр.
as part of that, they come into
Может
conflict
так и
with
до
an Iraqi
50 и
unit,
до 8
there's a
дойдет.
pitched
Я
firefight, and then the two groups are plunged underground. There's an earthquake of some sort, and it's revealed that there's a hidden temple underground. These big massive structures.
Но мои
but
предпочтения,
these
это
different
типа
groups, they're all
вот сейчас,
separated.
что я видел,
Radio
это
contact
пока
is lost,
коллекционка,
and
которую
they're
представили,
submerged
это,
in
конечно,
black,
House of Ashes,
We're on God's green earth if we
коллекционка
landed.
с фигуркой,
And then they
ее,
start
конечно,
hearing things and seeing
по House
things,
of
and
Ashes
people
ничего
then
не
start
завезут в
disappearing.
Россию. Или
Just happened.
So this time
есть
it's a very
3
real threat.
диска со
All of the
стилбуком,
Dark
вот это
Pictures
вот
games, they
будет
all
как
pull
бы вроде
something
как,
from
кое-кто
real life or from
завезет.
history, from fact. What's the case with the myth
А насчет
or
коллекционки я не знаю. Ну и, конечно,
historical
Stalker 2,
House
все,
of
все, что
Ashes?
показали,
So
в
we love
принципе.
looking at,
Также
looking at
надо
reading myths and legends and stories,
учесть,
doing our
я даже,
research.
может,
And we
видос
know our
скоро об
fans
этом
love it as well,
сделаю,
because there's
что
something
скоро
that they can link
презентация
into
Sony.
afterwards. And I love
Я
doing that
надеюсь,
when I'm
там
playing
хоть
games or watching
покажут
movies myself.
Combat Pack
So this
3.
one's set 4,000 years ago, the Akkadian Empire, and this terrible evil that happened. We had this self-proclaimed god king, Naram Sin, and he essentially cursed his people. He sacked this temple and brought famine and devastation to his own people. And so a lot of the history is lost, but we've done a lot of research
там
about it, and then we
медиум.
had a lot of
Теперь
happy
уже
accidents
точно
that
для
linked into
PS5
the story we wanted to tell. And the fun thing for us is we get to do our own take on it. We get to twist it, and obviously we've made our own truth from it.
At the end of the
Я
sneak
хочу
peek, the
увидеть
trailer, we
быстрее
saw
презентацию Sony, потому что, ну,
monsters. Tell us a bit
Назеры
more
обычно
about what's going on
именно
there.
с
The military unit that
Sony
you're playing as, they don't really
сотрудничают
know what
больше
they're
всех, как
coming
бы.
up against. They're not human, they're bigger, they're larger, they're faster. The team aren't going to know if there's one or two of them or hundreds or thousands of them, and that's kind of the threat with this. You know,
Я
they've
надеюсь,
got
хоть
guns.
еще
Maybe
представить
they
DLC
could try
для
and take
Little
one of them
Nightmares 2
down.
первой хотя бы. Ну,
But maybe
типа,
there's
пора
another one
уже.
around
И
the corner.
но оно
Maybe there's a
должно
group
быть
of them, and maybe they're
так
gonna
же
get
3, как
ambushed.
и для
Maybe they're
первой
like a
части.
cluster.
Exactly,
And they
yeah,
all pop
a
out at
nest,
once.
as it were.
Yeah.
Ну,
And
пора.
it's been really fun to work on and see these things move around and how horrific they can be. They're different to us. They perceive the world in a different way. Getting little snippets of it in the darkness, and was that? Did I see that? Was it
Здесь
something that
рассказывают,
moved?
каких они монстров
Or is it
сделали,
actually just one of the
наверняка.
other soldiers that's stuck in the
Захватом
catacomb?
движений, всяких таких типа.
We like to try and misdirect people on things, you know, that did you see something, did you not? And that's a great thing within horror, that you think you're going to be scared right now, and we're not going to scare you now, we'll scare you in a minute when you're not expecting it.
It's always coming.
Yeah, always.
So should we expect a huge amount of peril in the game?
Definitely. We love to do it. You know, it's fun for us to work on, as horrific as it is, and we know that our fans love it as well. So yeah, there's at least 60 unique deaths, and there's a whole ton of variation on that as well. So Merwin and some of the others, you're going to see different things happening to them depending on how you play it out, you know, getting ripped and shredded and torn, and because there's a firefight, there's going to be bullets flying as well and all kinds of stuff. And it's not just the deaths, it's the gore that goes along with it, and you know, lots of blood.
Wicked. It sounds absolutely terrifying. I'm in.
Not gonna lie, man. It's pretty bad.
Смотрите, кто сейчас
What
разговаривает, тут прям
changes have you made to the gameplay and mechanics for House of Ashes?
явно
We're
какая-то
always evolving the
и
dark
просто
pictures.
накачанная.
We listen to a lot of the feedback from our fans, and also our team, what they want to do, how they want to push things forward. So we tried some stuff in Little Hope with
могли бы
you know, more camera control, 360 cameras at certain parts, and we really leaned on that again, and it
Так,
really
вот, да,
works
теперь
well.
вот это будет.
In House of
Стрелять
Ashes, lots
можно
of the
будет?
game
Или
is
это
set
просто
underground,
чё?
and so these sort of corridors, which are really tight and oppressive.
Creepy.
Yeah, indeed. So,
Не знаю,
so we've had to learn
собственно,
because
камера,
you
которая
take away the fixed
двигалась
cameras,
именно вот
and
по
that takes
тем,
away some
которым
opportunities
надо
for
было.
horror, but we've had to learn new tricks to scare people and, you know, ramp up the tension.
Не
and,
была
and,
какая-то
you know, the
фишка.
chance for jump scares, which we know
Ну,
some
типа
people
ты...
love. We've also got a new
Она
torch
и
mechanic.
камера
So,
идет как идет,
you
а
know,
ты
it's
сам
military
сейчас все
themed, so these
управляешь,
guys will
сам
walk
все
around with
смотришь.
weapons, with,
А
torches
там
mounted
как
on
бы
them.
тебе,
We love the
можно
lighting that we
сказать,
do, this
заставляли,
really
но все равно
inky
там
black
есть какая-то
darkness that we
фишка.
have. And sort of the contrast
Потому
to
что
the
ты не
bright
знаешь,
areas.
что будет
And so you're going to
спереди.
need to lean on that torch to allow you to see where you're going, what the
А
threat
если
is,
здесь
and that kind of stuff. We've also done things
Если
like
здесь можно будет
added
еще и
difficulty
стрелять, то это
settings to
уже
this game. So
полноценный шутер
in
опять
Little Hope we
какой-то.
added you know, QTE warning icons as an example, and we've got some really good positive feedback about that. But
Стрелять
also some
вряд ли
people want to
можно
turn
будет.
that off.
Ну, не знаю.
We want to allow you to play the game in your way. So with our accessibility settings and difficulty settings, if you want to have a more casual experience, you can change those settings. Still, most of your characters are going to end up dead, but you know, that's what
Spoilers,
happens,
yeah,
indeed.
but that's what we come here for. That's
Yeah.
okay, we can deal with it. So I've got to ask, what was it like working with Ashley?
So Ashley was fantastic. She researched Rachel. She understood her when she came on the set, which is so refreshing. She knew her inside out. And Rachel is a flawed character, so she brought that through so
Что еще
fantastic.
одних
The
тех же
rest of the
такое?
cast were fantastic as well.
When we were looking for Joey, Salim helped me.
You didn't tell me this because...
You'd flip your shit.
We want you to connect to these characters and understand them as humans. We want them to seem real because they're real to us. You know, we spend a long time designing them, and I don't mind if you hate any one individual character because you don't like everyone in real life. But maybe you'll like them when you see the journey they go on.
Maybe you'll like them once they're dead and you feel bad about it.
and you feel bad about it, definitely.
Yeah.
But also we want you to save them. We want you to try and save them. You know, we know that some people want to get everyone killed straight away, and that's fine. That's their playthrough. That's what they want to do. But you know, can you get everyone out alive and save as many as you can?
There's a lot of replayability there.
Indeed,
Goes on
yeah.
forever. I like that. So, last question. Favourite scene?
Favourite scenes. So Salim, our Iraqi soldier, and Jason Kolchak, one of the Marines that's there. There's a way that can play out, and a sort of contest between them, and you can make it go in a number of different ways.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend.
It's really emotional. Seeing them film it, I was lucky enough to be there, and then seeing that come through in game, I think we've got something there. I think that's gold.
Они что-то
And then of course I love scaring people, so I love the jump scares, I love the
Они про
moments of
количество игр
tension
сейчас говорят.
that we bring. We can't hold you in that moment, so we've got some fantastic jokes in there as well to allow you to relax for a moment before we scare you again.
To take your mind off.
Ну, явно в этой игре увидим еще на четвертом, потому что ну,
Dan,
там
thank you
уже
so much. This
четвертая
has been really
книга
cool to
стоит.
talk
Ну.
about, and I'm sure, you know, I'm
И
excited and
надеюсь,
terrified in
очень
equal part, and
надеюсь
everyone else is
на...
just excited, I'm sure of it.
And it's been a real pleasure to speak to you, and I can't wait to get it into people's
На
hands.
выход Until Dawn мне пока. Вот это то, что именно мне надо. Ну сейчас хоть покажите коллекционки нормально. Да. А другая где? Вот и сволочь.
Before we dive in to House of Ashes, see how scared you got, of course, we want to thank Razer for being one of the E3 2021 sponsors. Of course, giving us these tired old blades nobody cares about. But this Blade 14 RTX 3080 built right in. Of course, the Razer
I'm taking that.
Thank you so much. No, I'm taking that.
Okay, we'll fight.
Okay, well,
we've done it before.
You know what? I'll take the hand-me-down. I'll be little brother. I'll take the outdated. Nobody wants these anymore, right? Doesn't worry. Golden Boy, you just saw the Dark Pictures anthology.
Yeah.
Так, а чё,
Your first glimpse of it. We have some reactions
говорить, да?
from you.
Может,
Ну,
давайте, делся для
They
Little
said you were a
Nightmares.
little scared, not terrified.
Я жду, если не будет, то это прям для меня полное разочарование. Не DLC для Resident, вот только начали делать, не DLC для Little Nightmares 2 не будет, не DLC для Combat Pack. Одни майки реально вытащили, одни майки.
Yeah, I think that was one of the jump scares in the trailer. I was
И что Sony ты сделал? Давайте, ждем Combat Pack, ждем много
I am
всего.
not crazy about horror. I was actually talking to the crew at the back, and I said, it really takes a very twisted mind to come up with these things. But it is impressive, though, right? You heard there in the interview, Dan saying, like, oh, yeah, I love the jump scares. I live for the jump scares. It's
60 different death animations is what that was something he wanted to make sure. Because, of course, this is a choose-your-own-adventure. If you've never played a Dark Picture anthology, right? You are moving characters in a third person. You jump around. It's like you're watching a movie. You make choices. Those choices lead to different permutations, different setups, different settings, which leads to different depths or no depths if you're really, really good. But that's the idea, right? Is that you're playing in your own horror movie and then gives you the reason to replay it.
Yeah.
House of
also,
Ashes.
Surprise for me was that Ashes
Battlefield.
Isn't it? I didn't know that going into it. Which I was like, wow, this is definitely an upgrade from High School Musical.
24 или 26, по-моему, может и еще.
Big different
Позже
genre.
или раньше, я не уже не помню.
And I think also, because we had the VO panel yesterday, which
Я
was
не
great,
знаю,
and
чувак.
it just goes to show, right, like the impact that video games are having. Hollywood stars
Nintendo
coming in,
ничего нового, сейчас
lending their voice,
показали
lending their face, their
побольше
acting,
House of
their
Ashes.
skills to this, really bringing
Пока не
these
знаю,
characters
я
to
жду
life is just
DLC
going
для
to
Little
add
Nightmares.
even more
Пока еще не
layers to this horror.
That's a huge thing. If you've never played before, performance capture is a huge deal for Supermassive. They go through, they use the facial animation. They want you to feel like you're watching a movie. So we will see soon enough how the Dark Pictures anthology
Еще геймплей
this time around
покажет.
House of Ashes. But for now, let's toss it over to the one, the only, Jackie Jenkins.
Ребят, класс.
Brothers in arms, or each man for himself.
Так, это
Survival
актеры, да?
depends on choice. Will you find the path to save
Или нет?
everyone, or be lost in the darkness?
I'm sorry, I'm
It's
just
Little
a
Nightmares,
little
пожалуйста.
excited about this title. Dan, I saw you taking lots of notes. You were taking notes about the mechanics, actually, but I know you're really thrilled with the story as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I am here for this. So.
Well, I'm a big old history nerd, so I was super stoked to hear more about the setting. It's really tying in a lot of ancient lore about the Akkadian Empire. You have Naram Sin, this guy who declared himself like the god king of the Akkadian Empire and desecrated this temple, and now it's coming back to haunt us in modern day. It's also interesting to use the Iraq War as a setting. It is definitely a fraught time period and event during which to set a game, but also I think a rich sort of backdrop for horror in this setting because you're tapping into sort of Mesopotamian mythology.
что они еще сегодня будут показывать?
Demons who's tormenting all of these soldiers, and I'm really excited to see what they can do. I told you I was taking notes. I did some research. I'm excited. I can't wait to experience all 60 death animations.
I know the 60 unique deaths. Okay, Avi Chan's face right now is just killing me. Avi, what are you thinking?
I'm thinking that if I'm ever trapped in like a dark cave, I'm probably going to stick next to Dan because he understands what we should be doing. King of what now? You're looking up all this history on Pazuzu?
He's the king of wind demons. No big deal.
Come on, everybody knows that. I don't even know what the King of Wind Demons is. What was it?
Oh, he's Pazuzu.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
You may remember him from The Exorcist as well.
Yes. Okay. Avi, you were obviously a big fan of the. Sorry, we're like Dan, just like I could go on. Pazuzu. Exactly. I was like, okay. But Avi, we've been talking about Resident Evil Village like at length. We both like horror survival. But also like when someone's playing with us, and I thought that it's great that it's co-op, so we can be scared together while we play.
Yeah, I'm just gonna be sitting behind Dan and watching him play because that's exactly what I did with Until Dawn because I'm like, cool, I can't hold a controller and, you know,
Кажется,
try to
Until
guide
Dawn
these
на ПК
teenagers
реально,
to
ну,
safety.
пожалуйста, ну
I'm
очень.
going to step on a branch and
Скажите, Until
individually kill
Dawn
them all.
выйдет на
But
ПК.
Dan was going into like the history of all of it, and I'm going like, oh, 2003, that's a little
И
too close. And I
усилили
didn't
Little
pass on my
Nightmares 2.
history classes,
Покажите,
but I
я буду
hope that
счастлив уже,
Pazuzu
в
doesn't, you
принципе.
know, pop up anywhere in a
Иначе я
textbook.
разочаруюсь.
But something that was really interesting for me when we were going through the trailers and going through that little dev talk is that they showed us Pazuzu. They showed us the monster. They showed us what it looks like inside the cave. So there's part of me wondering, like, usually with horror games, you don't show people the scary right away. So I'm wondering if maybe there's like a hidden layer of something else that they're not showing us yet that's going to catch people off guard, thinking that they're going in going like, I did my research, I know everything.
I know how to deal with a Pazuzu. This is easy.
I know. So you two would fall into the depths together, and then I would somehow be stuck with Michael, and he'd be like talking about JRPGs, and I'd be like, oh my goodness, we're in a world right now.
If I make a deal with the devil, I can turn into a very attractive protagonist, and then I could probably possess Pazuzu if I do negotiations like you can in SMT5. No, anyway, like one thing I want to say about this one is the free cam controls that's different for Supermassive. So I'm gonna wonder how that works because I feel like they're very in control of camera angles and what you see before you make choices. I'm sure there's like transition phases where you actually make your choices and all other stuff. It's just something new from them. So I just want to see how that plays out, especially when I'm with a bunch of other people trying to get very scared.
And Damon, I know you're all about retro games, but I also know you love a good story. I know for me, I felt like this had a lot of heart. There was dialogue that we saw, and it really hit me to my core.
Yeah, and they showed the actors doing the motion capture. I love horror movies. I love horror games. I'm a kind of a gore hound. I love blood and guts, and I love kill gags. Whoa. So like, I'm looking forward to see all the inventive and clever ways that Pazuzu's going to kill our soldier friends.
I just like saying Pazuzu, even though it's absolutely horrifying.
Может, они и будут страшные, но
Goms, I can't talk. Games have changed and evolved so much over the years, and with those changes, so has the coverage of our favorite games. Outlets like PC Gamer, IGN, Polygon, and GameSpot have all led the way in gaming coverage, and for the first time ever, we've assembled the editors-in-chief of all those organizations and our Voices of E3 series. Take a look.
Что еще, давайте.
Hello, welcome back to E3 2021. My name is Chris String. I run gamesindustry.biz, which is one of the world's biggest video games business websites. And joining me today to talk about E3 and the future of games in general are some of the biggest names in the video games media, from IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, and PC Gamer. But rather than me do the introductions, I like to pass over to the panel. Hello, everybody.
Если что-то,
How did you get here?
Если что, после будет GameSpot, стоп, всякие эти, а потом церемония награждения Game Awards или типа всякое такое.
Thanks. This is
Ну,
Evan Lottie
помните.
over at PC Gamer. I'm the
Это уже
editor-in-chief.
без меня. Я хотел посмотреть, но это уже без меня.
Editor-in-chief of IGN. I don't have a cool Christmas Twitter name, but I do have a really cool Halloween Twitter name that someone gave to me, which is Tina Aminityville. So that's all I got.
Hi, how you doing? My name is Randolph Ramsey. I'm the editorial director from GameSpot. I go by Randy in this country because while it's okay to be called Randy in America, if you say that anywhere else in the world, you will be met with sniggers. You can't say, hi, I'm Randy to anyone else out there.
Yeah, it's definitely true for us in the UK. So asking to all of you here, what does
Так,
sort of E3
Nintendo показали особое издание
represent to you?
Metroid, первое за 19 лет новое, 2,5D игра серии. Коллекционная коробка включает Steelbook 90-страничный артбук, набор голографических карточек. Релиз 8 октября на Switch по цене 8000. Кстати, фанатам будет приятно знать, что мы правим также в разработке.
But I think, you know, outside of the professional stuff, I think E3 for me, you know, it allows me the chance to feel like just a regular old fan of video games. You know, I still get hyped about stuff.
Скриншот Windows 11, который представят официально 24 июня. Что будет 24 июня? Ой, слушайте, мне что-то не особенно нравится. А теперь нравится. Раз менять можно. Ну, в принципе...
Yeah, having that in-person reaction, like you're typically sitting... if you're at a press
Spotify,
conference,
тут
which I
будет
think
сразу
probably for many of us, we
Microsoft
maybe
Store,
stopped attending them in like a physical capacity and maybe
шопы
had like we're in a
всякие,
war room of sorts with our team. But in
Xbox.
general, just being able to sit next to your team and everyone's like reacting and then quickly scrambling to their keyboards again because they need to be typing up the news. That's obviously the
Ну,
primary element of
выглядит
it.
как-то,
But for
ну,
me personally
не
too, it's
знаю
also
даже.
it's a bit of a reunion because we'll all see each other in person. But
В
it is that
течение
opportunity to have
4
that
лет
one
еще ведь
space, that one
отменят
week. We all agree
поддержку
we're going to take that
Windows
time
10.
and be in one space together
Ну, я не
and be
знаю
able to
как.
connect.
Yeah, I think E3 is the center of gravity too, right? I mean, in an environment, we saw what happened last year what happens when there's not an E3, right? Everyone kind of
Ну,
goes it
глянем,
alone, and there's
интересно
definitely
все
some
же.
pros to that, but I think from a coverage perspective, we like having, I mean, you guys probably all share the same attitude. We like having as much time as possible to, do an interview, cover something, and not be rushed off to the next thing back to back to back. But there is kind of an efficiency for us, I think, and the viewer, the consumer, and having everything neatly collected under one
Так,
roof for 3 or 4 days.
завод уже повторил
The
подлинную
intensity and
стиль,
kind of
можно найти
spectacle that
образ
comes as a
сесть.
result of that, I think, can be genuinely fun and
Вчера,
exciting.
4 июня-то был.
So,
Как я слышал,
I mean, at least in North
28-го
America, it looks like E3 will
Sony
continue to
будут
be
свое
that
это
center of
делать.
gravity for the foreseeable future.
Я так понял,
For better or
под
worse, we get
конец все самое
reminded very
интересное
blatantly that,
пойдет,
like,
да, в
this is a
принципе.
human enterprise. There are some real people who are putting in some like long hours trying to make
Это
for the best
просто
possible event for all of
дата.
us.
Well, this year is a digital
День
event, and there are lots
парадокса.
of questions about what E3 becomes in the future. There's a lot of chatter about that. So, what do you hope to see from it come sort of 2022 or beyond that? What are your hopes for the future of E3, and what would you like to see?
It has to become more social, and I think that is a thing that E3 was like leaning towards. I think it's like important to remember like what function E3 served back in the day. In the 90s, video games were for children
Так,
or
будет показ
dorks.
PlayStation VR
And
2,
mainstream
типа.
publications covered it
Надеюсь,
once a
МК,
year,
но
and
новый комбо
all video game
покажут
companies need to
там
put all their
именно
money
на
into one
презентации
basket
Sony.
and pray that the New York Times wrote that story, right?
Ну, типа, а чё?
Now it's the opposite. I mean, sure,
Они
newspapers
больше
are still
Sony
catching
сотрудничают.
up, but otherwise,
Надеюсь, 28 июня и
video
правда
games
что-то
are the
будет от
center of
Sony.
culture
Типа,
for young people.
новый
I
God
think
of
The
War,
Guardian
новый
about that. And
представить
because of that, E3's purpose no longer has to be,
PlayStation
hey, let's
VR
get people
2,
excited for this one day. Let's put all of
Combat
our
Pack,
money into
надеюсь,
it. It
представить.
has to be
Ну,
something
реально, ну,
different,
надеюсь.
which it seems to be more celebratory, right? Like that kind of has become a purpose. So I hope that whatever we see it become in the future is, like you said, Chris, more inclusive. That it is this thing that is
Что-то
bringing
пока
people in,
болтаю, ничего
that
думаю.
is the center of
Дайте
gravity, that
DLC для
is
Little Nightmares
serving
и
a larger community
Until Dawn
And it
на
is significant,
ПК и
obviously,
все.
despite
Чего
the
нельзя
drawbacks
закончить?
of everything, of
Там
all
что-то
of us
замазано.
being in a pandemic that's going to be running about 2 years long by the end of
Выставил,
this, or hopefully
наверное,
just 2 years
специально
long by the end of
представили,
this.
а потом
I think it
замазали.
is significant that when we are being in this digital format now, I think it's nice that more people can connect. Obviously, it loses some of that social element. So I too, like Chris, hope that is retained, and I selfishly hope that we all go back in person. But I think keeping some elements digital does help kind of connect to a broader community. And there can be various aspects of that. Obviously, the press conferences are something that are typically digitally available
Кстати,
to
а по
begin with. But are
Zelda
there
там
some of those
анонсировали
panels that have been
коллекционку, нет?
introduced, or some other versions
Ща
of
гляну в
connectivity
конце.
or versions of celebrations that is something that people can
Что
experience
сегодня вообще
in
показывали?
person
Just Dance,
or at
по-моему,
home too,
показывали.
to feel like they're a part of that entire
Дополнительно.
celebration of the festivities, of the news breaking, and they can get a sense of that same excitement that they may be feeling home alone because for whatever reason they're not able to attend.
I'm kind of hopeful that the live aspect becomes a lot more like Comic-Con in the future, in which it's much more a celebration of games culture and community while you're there live in person. I think the ESA, as everyone pointed out, has been sort of moving towards this hybrid thing where, half of it is still behind closed doors meetings with retailers, and then they're trying to, introduce more people into it, and they can play some games and look at some big booths. But, I think, Comic-Con does that thing where it does service the fan aspect of it
Так, вот,
really well by
внутренний
having
Legends
that,
of Zelda,
focus on the show
Breaches
floor of, the
2.
culture, things you can buy, artists you can interact with,
Так, а новый Switch-то не
while still
показали,
having that
да?
sort of hype vehicle and talking about
Осенью сразу
so,
представят. Так,
if anything, I would hope that, they push that sort of live community aspect more
2022 и все,
when
да?
you're there.
see them take a
Показали
full-on
даже
Gamescom
коллекционку.
approach where there
Показали
are, you know,
яс.
potentially tens of thousands of people, you know, having a full public day,
Облачная
you know,
версия Стражи
dedicated to,
Галактики. Ну, Marvels
you know,
выйдет
that's
на
really
Nintendo
servicing the
в одновременно
public
с
more
остальными
than
версиями.
the trade side, the business
26
side.
октября.
Yeah, I think a traveling E3
Ну, через
show
облако,
that goes
ясно.
around all year and visits multiple cities.
Some people will hate you for that one.
Well, luckily, I'm not in the USA. But yeah, and you know, I realized that, yeah, like, you know, PAX does this to a certain extent as well. But you know, I think what you know, what E3 could be is you know, still have that spotlight on the biggest and the best things, and you know, allowing people to, yeah, as I said, get hyped, get excited about their, you know, their favorite hobby.
Yeah, and just to build off that really quick, I think the thing that developers are going to have to ask themselves now, and we've really hit this turning point culturally, is can we let go of the secrecy, right? Because Comic-Con works because they put talent in front of people. But when you put talent in front of people, suddenly they have leverage. And that means that, you know, they're worth more money. I mean, just to be like very blunt. And that goes for voice actors, that goes for designers. And I think there is a version of E3 and all conferences that makes a lot of sense where, yeah, we don't need to have vertical slices for every game. They cost a ton of money. They take up a ton of hours. There can be a distraction. But if these people become celebrities in their own right, that can take their place. That can create these Comic-Con environments. And I would love to see that. I think it would be healthy for the industry as a whole.
Кстати, там же ДБД вышел, там уже можно купить. Я завтра уже куплю, получается.
Evan, actually,
И то есть
I
еще
love it. You mentioned the games.
помимо Леоны
I love
и
E3. I love the
Джилл
excitement of it. I
будут
love the
Клэр и
As a business
молодой
journalist, it's a
Крис.
You know, it's
прям
busy and
шикарно.
noisy, and I want to talk about sales figures, right?
В общем, ждите скоро тоже, наверное, видос. Надеюсь. Я все DLC сразу, ну, все, которые я хочу купить, это Stranger Things, Ash и Silent Hill. Кажется, все. Ждите в скором времени.
So I think I would like to have a sort of business show and a consumer show that sort of sit side by side. I don't know how you I don't know how you fit that into the LACC, but I think that's something that I would like. But I mean, at the same time, they're sort of moving to that sort of hybrid model anyway, and I think transition's always tough. But I'd love to see that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Is that something you're interested in?
I mean, with the kind of competition that we've referenced here with PAX, right? It's just essential that these events have a true purpose that is contemporary and you know, really self-aware of what else is happening and the other options people have. I mean, when you go to PAX, right, you see families. I see lots of, you know, thinking back to the PAXs I've gone, it's like mothers and daughters and you know, fathers and sons that have like decided to take their vacation to this event because they're a huge fan of, you know, GameX. And they want to hang out and be a part of that, right? And I mean, like, it's interesting to get a sense of like our kind of multifaceted feelings in this conversation, because like GDC is probably my favorite event of the year because the press is not the focus at all. There's not like big announcements or anything. And yet we as press get some of our best material out of GDC because it's an environment where game developers are just talking to each other and we're kind of listening in. And it's an environment where game developers like have their guard down. They're not, you know, engaged in the deep secrecy that I think Chris is referencing there very often, right? They're doing panels. They're sort of, you know, talking up their design and, you know, their narratives and like, you know, what's kind of interesting to them in the moment. And that's a great environment for interviewing and discovering stuff. So I don't know. I mean, whichever direction E3 takes long term, I just think it sort of has to not compromise and sort of meet in the middle of all this stuff, but really have clarity and identity.
Well, I'm very much aware of the time, so I'm going to wrap up with a sort of fun last question. So what is a memorable E3 interview that you can share with us?
Mine's a little sad in retrospect, but I still very much enjoyed the conversation that I had. It was before No Man's Sky came out, and I interviewed Sean Murray, and he was so excited to talk about this game and to talk about all the procedural generation and that work that was going into it. Alongside that interview, he had one of his
Фига, там
programmers
еще
like,
на Леона
showing me
есть
behind the
скинчик из
scenes
Resident Evil
how that
4, ну
procedural
это прям
generation worked. I
огонь,
thought it was
все.
such an interesting way of doing an
Ну
interview
это
where I
как
was
бы
actually
все,
seeing
это
behind the scenes
все
elements of what was actually going into
берем.
the game while he was speaking to them in what was a really eloquent way. So it's only a little sad in retrospect because obviously
Блин, она
there are a
очень
lot of moments where developers
интересно на
kind of
Клэр еще
maybe regret,
посмотреть.
like, did I say too much? Did I accidentally promise something that I wasn't intending on promising? But I think ultimately at the core, for me in that experience, like I could just see his passion and I could just see his pride for what his team was working on. And I think that there's something still, you know, really genuine and true and heartfelt about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, my favorite interviews are usually the conversations that happen at restaurants or bars afterwards, because E3 interviews tend to be very prepared. People are very press trained for them. So I guess I'll share something else, which is my favorite moment of E3, and it's very ego-driven. But a few years ago, I was at E3 at the front of the main hall, right? And it was the final day, and I was doing a direct-to-camera of like, hey, this is E3, I'm going to wrap it up. And at this point, I'm like running on no sleep, and I'm like covered in sweat. I look like an absolute mess. And from behind me, this very lovely, tall, and handsome man comes around front, steps in front of our camera as I'm preparing, bops me on the nose, and just goes, too cute, and then walks off. And it was like it was the nicest I've ever felt in my entire life.
Like you, Chris, you know, the best conversations at E3 happen outside the floor, outside these kind of formal settings. Dean Hall is someone who's just an absolutely unfiltered, you know, water hose of information and design thoughts. Like anytime I sit down with him, it's a chance to sort of you get the sense that he's peering into his sketchbook. I mean, this is someone who's fundamentally optimistic and imaginative, and, you know, half the things that he tells you, like his idea for a mountaineering game or because he'd climb Mount Everest, like they're not going to come true, but it's still like just someone who's just constantly dreaming and is like completely removed from that scripted, you know, media trained personality that we're referring to here.
Real quick for me, just like Chris, not the best, but for me the most embarrassing, having to play Sekiro in front of Miyazaki, and then do an interview. Couldn't get past the first enemy I came across, and then had to do a 50-minute chat with him. So that was lovely.
Well, thank you so much. That's it from us. Thank you to Tina, Randy, Evan, and Christopher. Thank you so much. Do check out all of our websites for all your E3 news and goings on. Have fun during the event, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Что это начали прощаться резко? Я слежу.
IGN Summer of Gaming has officially partnered with the ESA for E3 2021. IGN Summer of Gaming is now all summer long. From major press conferences and announcements at E3 2021 to the IGN Expo with exclusive gameplay and reveals to exciting first looks at the hottest new games and in-depth developer interviews, IGN Summer of Gaming has it all. IGN Summer of Gaming begins right now.
More power.
Так, долго они обо всем этом будут рассказывать, мне интересно.
I love Pac-Man 99. It's so fun, and the thing is, I'm super competitive too. I'm just like, bet, you think you're gonna get top 20? Get out of here. Get out of my face. Get out of my face. Get munched on. It's my first session, I got like top 30. The next session, it was top 20. Yeah. And then the third session forward, it was top 10. I see what I want, and I go get it. I want my first place, and they're gonna give it to me. I don't care if I don't get first place, it's fine. But that's like the mentality I have. And yeah, I'm actually super competitive.
Если что, я моменты со стримов смотрю, ничего такого.
Get more from your
Freak
neighborhood from
Squad.
restaurants and
Подумал,
convenience
тут
to grocery and corner stores.
Так.
All right, folks. Well, we got some more great games coming our way, no question about it. But what is it that draws us into a game's story? Is it a whodunit, maybe
Так,
becoming a
офигеть.
heroic protagonist, perhaps? Or maybe it's just a story that makes us laugh, that keeps us coming back.
Или чё,
When we return,
другой?
more on what stories we love in our games.
Долго не болтали, конечно. Не, серьезно, что ли?
More power.
Давайте еще раз это повторим, ну естественно. Вы что, охерели, блин? Это постоянно будет, да?
IGN Summer of Gaming has officially partnered with the ESA for E3 2021. IGN Summer of Gaming is now
Да вы серьезно? Вы это все по кругу что ли пускаете? Вы что, охерели? Дайте новое что-нибудь. Вы минут 30 болтали только.
to exciting first looks at the hottest new games and in-depth developer interviews. IGN Summer of Gaming has it all. IGN Summer of Gaming begins right now.
Ускорение, Nintendo. Какая-то фигня, да. Да, что становится жарко, а давайте быстрее. Что еще старый трейлер 2012 года Киберпанк.
Those that surprise me, those that make me think, that leave room for interpretation.
What I've always looked for in a game was just this really grand, epic story that makes you feel like you're part of a universe that's not Earth.
Ooh, I'm such a sucker for
What are they
narrative-driven
doing?
stories.
I appreciate really good character development. Stories that you can shape yourself.
You know, I always go back to the Telltale. Just having the option to have choices, to really feel like your choices matter. Like, what do you mean? I picked this and he died?
Feeding you breadcrumbs of what happened here and what this story is, and it's up to you, the player, to sort of like infer what you will and just take you down this rabbit hole.
I just got done playing Red Dead Redemption 2. I didn't want to stop playing it. I've been tempted to just start playing it immediately after I finished it.
I like stories that are willing to explore more difficult topics, but not treat it like it's something that you can joke about.
Games are empathy machines.
And I can just appreciate when they have this absolutely massive narrative and so much going on that it could absolutely turn people away from it and they don't care.
Set in places or have storylines that are incredibly depressing or morbid, but then they inject these bits and pieces of humor. Fallout does that really well.
For me, the stories I appreciate the most in games are always women kicking
Игровые
ass.
приставки, ничего себе. Сзади целые эти автоматы игровые стоят. Мне бы такой СМК.
live from Los Angeles.
Здорово, давайте что-нибудь. Дайте Little Nightmares, пожалуйста.
Every game has some sort of
Вчера
story
по
to tell,
Resident
but
только
some
анонсировали,
games
здесь,
are
надеюсь,
taking their
покажут.
narrative to
Ну,
cinematic
надеюсь,
level.
вообще хоть
Games like
что-то
The
нормальное.
Last of Us, Detroit Become Human, Bioshock, Red Dead, just to name a few. Guys, what
Bioshock,
type of stories do you like in your games? Alex, I'm
Bioshock,
starting with
сказал.
you.
Yeah. Okay, so the easy answer for me will always and forever be Halo.
Of course.
The Halo 1 story, it was actually one of the first, like, as a kid, like one of the first, like, narrative games I actually paid attention to. For some reason, I got into the books, and then from there, it just became a fascination. Another one that always stays in the back of my mind was Skies of Arcadia.
Oh, wow, okay.
I loved that game as a kid, and something about like being a pirate but believing in yourself and all that. It was just like a very uplifting story, and I enjoyed it so much. So yeah, those are ones that stand out for me.
Jackie, what about you?
I think I've spoken at length about the Super Nintendo games that have had a profound influence on me. But actually, I wanted to talk about The Last of Us and The Last of Us 2. You know, yeah, I mean, duh, right?
I'm glad somebody's finally talking about it.
I know, right? I mean, have you all heard about this game
little
before?
independent studio
Yeah,
Naughty Dog.
exactly.
Nobody's
It's
talking
not
about it.
extremely popular, but
Yeah.
I'll be honest though, like, that game haunts me to this day. I just remember, I mean, the opening scene. I still have not seen a game just punch me in the face like that. Like, I just remember being terrified, sad, angry, and then I was like, I'm 2 minutes into this thing, and I don't know what the hell is going on here. You know what I mean?
It's heavy.
Yeah, it was just extremely heavy. And I thought The Last of Us 2 was fantastic as well. I know, you know, people are quite divided on that title, but for me, with Ellie and Abby, it's just, we saw how human they were. Yeah. You know, there were times where I absolutely hated them, and I was just like, I can't stand you. And then there were times where they had me weeping, and I would just totally empathetic to their situation. Exactly. And I think that, you know, there's tons of amazing games out there that, you know, we're just like, man, that hits me right in my gut and my core, that I can definitely relate to that. But just those two titles in particular, it's just a fantastic series. And
especially for The Last of Us and their storytelling, right? For you're talking about things we can relate to. For me, it's the ones where we can't, but we still love that game. And so for me, you know, the final scene in The Last of Us, no spoilers, right? But the final time you're playing The Last of Us Part 1, like I remember finishing that and putting it down and be like, I got killed because I thought I was going to have a choice. I thought it was going to do the video game thing of, do you want to do this or do you want to do that?
Yeah.
And I got destroyed because I didn't do the thing it needed me to do. And so I remember finishing that and being like, Joel's the bad guy, and having that conversation about that with so many different people, and then going to part 2, and then throughout the game being like, don't do that, Ellie, but I keep wanting to play as her and understand what's happening. Like, that's the power of video games, right?
Indeed it is.
Storyline-based games aren't the only ones we love. When we return here at E3 Live from LA, we are taking a look at our favorite first-person shooters of all time. Don't go anywhere. I wonder what Golden Boy is going to say. I wonder what Golden Boy is going to say, all right? We'll shoot our shot in just a few.
My brain turned on playing Super Mario Brothers for the NES.
I started with Super Mario on the NES.
I think my first Nintendo I broke though, because I thought it was a piggy bank.
Я не
So I
помню, у
shoved a
нас
bunch of pennies
Nintendo
in it.
продолжается, или Bandai Namco началось,
With me literally in her belly playing Duck Hunt.
I got really into Duck Hunt. It definitely like helped me learn not to be a sore loser, because every time I would see that dog come up and laugh at me, ooh, filled with so much hate as a 5-year-old.
Eventually, me and my big brother were saving up for a long time to finally afford ourselves a Game Boy.
A pink Game Boy Color with Pokemon Red.
I got that sweet, transparent purple Game Boy Color. Went to town on some Pokemon Blue.
Pokemon Yellow was like my #1, and way better than Red and Blue because it was harder because you start off with a Pikachu.
I wouldn't say I really found my passion until Super Nintendo. Link to the Past was just mind-blowing to me as a kid.
I must have been 5. I started with the Nintendo 64.
Donkey Kong 64, Nintendo 64, yellow cartridge, and putting it in the, blowing on it to make sure it worked properly.
We got a Nintendo 64, we started getting into GoldenEye and stuff like that.
Did you also play Mario Kart with your cousins? I did. I got so good, I learned how to drift with my feet. I don't know why.
У меня там фига там объективов, камер, ну что, оказывается. Всякие геймбой игры, Nintendo и так далее. Ну-ка давайте нормально. Давайте Литлна. Вы каждую рекламу так заново повторяете. Прикольно вообще. Я что, вчерашней конференции не смотрю, что ли? Что за фигня-то? Блин, все заново повторить. Давайте, конечно. Или Bandai Namco уже закончили, это IGN уже начали свое, да? Если так, то Bandai Namco очень мало показывает. Где делся Little? Да, там студию расформировали, но все равно должны же. Если так, то я довольно-таки разочарован. Ничего того, что я ждал, не показали. Лишь одни майки все вытащили в этом году. Я даже не знаю, что в прошлом. Вот 2016, вот тогда-то ажиотаж был. Раньше было лучше.
As a part of Play for All, GameSpot will be bringing you the latest gaming news and announcements, interviews with developers, the biggest press conferences, and lots more. Play for All is our yearly online event that combines the excitement and announcements of E3 with charity live streams the following week with lots of special guests who are going to help us raise money for able gamers. So join us in June for E3 and Play for All on GameSpot.com, YouTube.com/GameSpot, Twitch.tv/GameSpot, and as a part of E3's official broadcast. See you then.
So when I was in college in the early 90s, I was a computer science major at the University of Minnesota, and I loved gaming. I loved computers. I knew I always wanted to do something in gaming, but it wasn't until I played the very first Doom game, Doom 1. I never even played Wolfenstein. The fact that there were games like this, and that also let people like us, users.
Bandai Namco. Ясно. Ну и тогда и мы, собственно, будем заканчивать. Ну ничего, я много сегодня пропустил, но как бы вообще практически ничего не показывали. Что ж, я остался, в принципе, разочарован. Лишь одни майки на E3 все вытащили. Благодаря им, 6 из 10 можно поставить E3. То, что я ждал, ничего не показали. Я уже 1000 раз об этом говорил, всякое это. Я возмущался много раз. И так далее. Ubisoft, там немного показали. Майки, все. Microsoft вообще красавцы. Так-то Xbox вообще шикарно. Что, ждем презентацию Sony. Увидимся на стримах следующих. Ну и все, собственно. Всем удачи и покеда.